Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada, where we are having a beautiful snowy winter right now. I hope everybody is having a great week thus far, and I hope you're all looking forward to a fantastic weekend coming up soon and an amazing New Year's. Students, in this class, we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2, Band 9 Sample Response. We're looking at effective approaches to getting those high band scores on your next IELTS exam. The materials are coming from aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. We will be using our aehelp.com website today for some practice with some of our viewers. Welcome Jihane to our group of members. Hi Jaineel, hi Khyber, Rashika, welcome to our chat moderator Carolina. This is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. If you'd like to become a member of our channel, simply click the join button next to the subscribe button. If you don't see that, you can send me an email. I'll show you that in a minute. Our websites, students, they look like this. This is our academic website here at aehelp.com with this blue background. You can click this big red button just above my head to join our premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, and as you can see over here, we are an official IELTS test registration center and certified agents, so you're in great hands with us, and our courses really just don't cost all that much. Hi Baljit, hi Kishanjit, good to see more and more members in the class. Our general IELTS website looks like this with the green background. Again, just click this red button to join the premium IELTS course, and you're in great hands with us. Students, if you want to get our apps, you can do so in your app store. Just look for Academic IELTS Help and look for General IELTS Help. Those apps will link to the respective websites for some really great integrative learning so that you can learn IELTS wherever, whenever you want. Kishanjit, in these classes, you do not need to pay extra money other than being a member to practice. If you want to do speaking practice on our websites, that is a pay-on-demand service, of course, because that takes extra time, and it really depends on how many sessions a student needs. So on the website, yes, a 30-minute session is $25 USD with a native English speaker who will do a full IELTS speaking interview, give you a band score according to the marking criteria, and then give you feedback. So that's how it works, Kishanjit, on the website. In these live classes, we're going to do some speaking practice as well using our website, Student Partner Speaking. I will show you that a little bit later in the class, and that you don't have to pay extra for. So all you have to do is message me, and then when I see you message, we can do a little bit of practice. Okay? All right. Yeah, Kishanjit, the website membership is different. That's pay on demand for writing and for speaking. Okay, everyone. So the Instagram profiles for us, it's IELTS_AEHelp and GIELTS Help. You can get lots of vocabulary videos and our schedule for free on the Instagram profiles. And then here is my email if you have some questions. So Kishanjit, if you have more questions about the speaking, you can send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Okay. All right, everyone. So we've got classes today, tomorrow, and on New Year's Day on January 1st. So we're working right through 2021 to 2022. Now let's get into today's speaking part 2. So here we go, students. This is part 2 speaking. And in part 2 speaking, this is a speaking class, so make sure to speak and repeat. Okay, so copy my intonation, copy my pronunciation as best as you can. All right. Okay. Again, Kishanjit, if you're having problems accessing the website, just send me an email and I'll definitely help you out. Okay. All right. So students, when you're in speaking part 2, you are sitting face-to-face with an examiner like me. The speaking has 3 parts. It takes about 12 minutes for the full speaking interview. Part 1 takes about 3-4 minutes, and then you do part 2. Part 2 takes basically 3 minutes. It's 1 minute to read the questions, prepare an answer, and then you have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. So roughly 3 minutes total. Interestingly, it is the most important 3 minutes of your speaking interview because it has a big deciding factor on your part 3 performance, and it also decides those higher band scores in the speaking, like band 7, 8, and 9. So you definitely want to do a great job in speaking part 2. Now, the way that it works is basically the examiner will show you a cue card. Okay, the cue card will be usually in a booklet these days, so they have like a little booklet that they open up. They open up the page to a specific set of questions. They have a few different ones for the same day, so you can't really guess what you're going to get. You just have to be ready for any topic. And you have to have the right strategy. So they kind of show you the book. Because of COVID, they will tell you not to touch the book. Okay? You're going to have these small pieces of note paper, and you'll have your pen with you. And then the examiner will say, okay, that is the end of part 1. Now we will continue with part 2. For part 2, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these questions, think about your answers, and then you will have 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start, when to stop. You can take notes in the 1 minute if you wish. Talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. So that's exactly how it works. Basically, they give you this topic sentence, the main kind of question that you're focusing on, and then they start off your 1 minute preparation time. Okay, so in that 1 minute preparation time, all right, you have to take a few very important steps. Okay, and I'm just going to list these steps and then we're going to go through them today together. Okay. So, A, you must reread the topic, question, or statement twice. Okay? So even though the examiner reads this talk about an item that you have sold, you still need to reread that twice. So talk about an item that you have sold. Read with me. Talk about an item that you have sold. Okay? There's a very important reason for this. It's to make sure that you understand the question and that you focus on the right idea. If you're talking about the wrong idea, you're going to get a really low band score. All right. Jahane, yeah, you can participate today. I just have to go over some of the important strategies here and then make sure to hang out in the class, okay? And I'll be watching for you in the live chat. All right. You've read this twice. Talk about an item that you have sold. You have clarity. So then you go to step 2, B. Identify the category. Okay, so basically your IELTS Part 2 will be one of 5 kind of categories. So it will be either object, person, place, event, or an idea. Okay, and when you're getting ready for your exam, practice on each of these. All right, so the question will mostly focus or target one of these kinds of topics. Everybody knows what it is, what you're targeting here. So this question, talk about an item that you have sold. What's the target? Okay. So what is the target of this one here? It should be very quick, very clear. So these should only take you a second. All right. Carolina says it's an object. Yeah, you talk about an item that you have sold, so clearly you're talking about an object. Okay. So in this one here, our example, you're talking about an object. Okay, very clearly it's an item. Everybody's cluing in on that. That's perfect. All right, and then also you identify the tense. So identify the primary tense of the cue card. Okay, so when you hear this kind of advice, like talk about the past, present, future, that's not good advice. The tense, so whether you're talking about the past or the present or the future, it really depends on what the card is asking you. This card, for example, is not really asking you too much about the present or the future, so you should not be talking a lot about the present and the future. Okay? All right, it's just that last question. So Amrinder says it's mostly past perfect. Yeah, because look at this. It's have sold, right? So the primary tense here is present perfect, maybe past perfect, and past with a little bit of present. Okay, as the very last question. You're going to see that. All right, so be really careful about this past, present, future strategy because it does not apply to all cue card questions. All right. Okay, so you've done that. You've identified the object. You've identified that it's past, present, future. Now let me just hop back here to B. I forgot to mention something important. When you talk about an object, if you want to be clear, well-structured, fluent, okay, then what do you need to include? What kind of information do you need to include talking about an object? And again, this should be very quick, okay? So if you talk about an object, you should talk about its appearance, its origin, its function, and its importance or its value, okay? In that order. So explain what this object looks like, okay? Explain where it comes from. So what's its origin? Where did you buy it potentially? Okay, its function, so how is it used? Okay, how do you use this object? What's its purpose? And then its importance, why is it valuable to you? How does it help your life? Or how does it influence your life? Okay, what does it do for you? All right, as long as you talk about the object in this order, in this way, you're going to do a pretty good job. And it doesn't mean you have to have super complex sentences or vocabulary. You just need this order. Okay, Amrinder, the price is just a part of its origin. Okay, its quality is a part of potentially its appearance or its function. Okay, so Amrinder, it's not price, quality, and feature. It's appearance, origin, function, and importance. All right, think about it that way, like Rashika, Jamil, and Kyber are saying. Okay, yeah, and Kyber even says utility, which is a good word. Okay. All right, so A, B, and C happen very fast, students. A, B, and C all together take you like 10 seconds. All right, it shouldn't take you super long time. Okay, A, B, C are very quick. And then D is write some useful notes. Oh, sorry, not yet. So come up with 2 to 3 possible choices. Okay, so this is the step that a lot of people forget, and see, even myself, I had to kind of remind myself there. I'm like, oh yeah, wait a second. If I'm writing notes, what am I actually writing my notes about, right? So what are those notes going to be about? So I have to come up with 2 or 3 possible ideas, not just one. Okay, so don't be like, I sold my car. It could be good, but try to think of at least a few different choices. You might think of something a bit better, a bit easier to talk about, a bit more original. Welcome, June. We've got lots of members in the class, finishing the year strong. That's great to see, students. All right, so what are some good choices? So what are items that we commonly sell? Objects. Okay, now think about it. It should be something that's fairly easy to talk about, okay, where you have lots of information. Should be something that's fairly original. So think of something that, you know, not everybody is talking about, okay? Janelle says, okay, land. All right, Janelle, careful. That could be tricky to talk about. Let's say 1 acre of land. Yeah, it could be tricky to talk about, Janelle, so careful. It could be really good. Okay. Carolina says, a collection of scholarly books. Okay, Carolina, careful. Not scholar books, but it's scholarly books as an adjective. Okay, so collection of scholarly books. That's a common one, especially for university students, because many university students resell their books. Okay, Bandita, I like it. Old refrigerator or used freezer. How about that one? Okay. Refrigerator could be a good one, Bandita. I might even choose something a little bit simpler, like just a used freezer. Okay. All right. And I think that could be useful. Okay. I would probably just go with a used freezer, because a fridge can be maybe a bit too tricky to actually talk about. Okay, Janelle says washing machine. Yeah, so some kind of appliance, right? Yeah. Baljit says my old mountain bike. Notice how I'm adding a bit of detail to what you're saying. So not just Baljit bike, but road bike or mountain bike. Okay. All right, Kyber says Turkish carpet, but here we go, Kyber. This is why you have to be very, very careful, because you have to make sure that you're using the correct word in English. We usually don't say Turkish carpet in English. Anybody know what we actually say instead of Turkish carpet? Amrinder, same thing with an antique painting. You can get yourself into trouble, okay? So again, students, really keep this in mind, okay? Because I can see that some of you would be in trouble with your topics, okay? Make sure you can easily talk about it for 2 minutes. Pay attention to the vocabulary that's needed, okay? So collectibles like ancient silver coin or gold coin, Janelle, could be very tricky, because that's called a numismatic coin. If you don't know words like numismatic, value, you're going to be in a tough spot to get a high band score, okay? Baljit, I wouldn't go with a smartphone, because I think a lot of people would be picking that as their topic, so don't go with smartphone. Okay. All right, so if you're like the 100th student to use the topic smartphone, it could be a difficult way to prove that you're going to get a great band score. Baveen, good. Kishanjit says, how about a used piece of furniture? Yeah, Kishanjit, that could be a good one. Okay, so a used piece of furniture, like maybe a study desk. Okay, or a study table, a study desk. That could be a good one. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, students, so you've got lots of ideas. Again, you want to come up with 3 of them, all right? I still haven't seen how to say Turkish carpet. So Kyber said Turkish carpet, and I said that could be tricky because we don't actually call it a Turkish carpet. Kyber, you might have actually heard this word. It's in one of our listening exercises as well, okay? So instead of a Turkish carpet, Kyber, it's a Persian carpet. Okay, so we call those Persian carpets, not Turkish carpets. So just imagine, Kyber, that you're sitting there for the whole time, 2 minutes, and you're talking to your examiner about Turkish carpet this, Turkish carpet that, and your examiner the whole time is thinking, I'm pretty sure this person is talking about a Persian carpet, not a Turkish carpet, because that's what we call them, right? And yeah, they're not going to give you a band 8 for sure after that, okay? So careful, right? Make sure that you're 100% sure that that's what it's called in English, okay? All right. Welcome, Ashmi, okay? All right. Ashmi, very good. So Ashmi joined in, and Ashmi said a kid's car seat. Yeah, a car seat could be really good, okay? So kids' car seat. Yeah, I just bought a used kid's car seat last year, so definitely one of those items that are often resold. Kids' things or kids' belongings are often resold, for sure, like kids' clothing as well. Okay, we've got a lot of good ones. Let's go to our choice now. So we've got a lot of good ones. I like the freezer. That's definitely one of the ones that people resell often as a freezer. Okay, so they have a freezer and then they resell it. Okay. And I think we can do a good job on that. So if I had a list of these similar kinds of ideas, freezer would be one of them. So we want to do some good notes here. Okay, that's our next step. All right. So once you've come up with some good ideas, now if you have to, spend 20 seconds on coming up with a good idea. Okay. If you don't have a good idea, you're not going to have a good part 2. So even if that means sacrificing time for good notes, then do it. Okay, everybody got that strategy? That's a really important one. Okay, this is a really, really important tip that I'm giving you here. So if you must, spend 20 seconds coming up with a good answer for the cue card, as this is the most important. You can have all the notes in the world, but if you have a difficult topic, or if you have a topic like smartphones that everybody's talking about, you're going to have a really difficult part 2 and part 3. So if somebody asks me what's the most important step in my part 1 preparation for part 2, I would say coming up with the best topic possible. Okay, everybody got that? Pranjal, congratulations on your band 7.5. That's awesome. And thank you for coming back and sharing that. That encourages our viewers and other students. So Pranjal, please send me an email. I'd love to get your testimonial. Okay. All right, so again, the most important, okay, is to come up with a good topic. Cue card, as this is the most important. Okay, you're going to see that right now. All right, so everybody's got that, right? Cue card topic, coming up with a good one, it's the most important. So this is more important than notes. All right, because if you have a good topic, you are going to do well, even with not so many notes. All right, so write useful notes. That's your next step. Okay, so let's do the example here of a freezer. All right, I think everybody knows what a freezer is. It's like a fridge, but only the freezer part. So it's a big box, basically, right? That's used to freeze food. Okay, all right. So let's talk about this appearance. What is the what is the appearance of a freezer? So what does a freezer look like? Give me some ideas. Okay, so it's your old used freezer that you sold. Give me its appearance. What does it look like? Okay. Right. Now, this is an object, but it's also a bit of an event, right? Because you're selling it. Okay. All right. Janiel says egg white. Yeah, sure. So don't just say white, right? Janiel, say something. Egg white. Bandita, very good. Rectangular. Very nice. Janiel says 80 liters. See how when you have such a good topic, you can come up with so many notes so fast, right? So it's egg white, it's rectangular, it's 80 liters. Okay, something else that you might include there? Okay, Baljit says the color is kind of dull. Okay, maybe, you know, I'm sure you've seen this with freezers. After a while, it might have a bit of rust, right? So this is where you can use some of your vocabulary. If you have it, rust is when metal oxidizes and it turns kind of brown. And of course, freezers, you have water, you have cold together with air. Freezers tend to get rusty after a while. Baljit says the door is broken on it. Yeah, it's not the door, Baljit, it's a lid. Okay, so maybe the lid is a bit loose. Okay. All right, so that's the appearance. We don't need to spend too much time there. Its origin. Where'd you get it? Okay. Appliance store. How much did it cost you? Let's say 500 bucks. Okay. The origin would also be like how long ago did you get it? Maybe it's 5 years old. Time for a new one. Okay. All right. Its function. So, what do you use it for? Okay. So Janiel says it's a Philips. Sure. Maybe you have the brand in there. So it's a good brand. Or General Electric, Electrolux, something like that. Okay. Jihane says I got it from Lebanon. Okay, maybe. Sure. Okay. Kishanjit says I replaced it because of a new one. Okay, so yeah, Kishanjit says I replaced it because I needed a new one. Sure, but we're not there yet, Kishanjit. Let's explain the function of the freezer. So what do you have this freezer for? Why do you use it? Or why did the person who bought it from you, what did they need it for, right? So, store food, obviously. Okay. Maybe you have a big family. All right. So you can't be running to the shop every time you need to pull out a piece of meat. Right. So you're storing food. Big family. People often have freezers because they want to save money. Right. So when there's a good deal on meat or on some kind of vegetable. Okay. All right. Janiel says, chilling beer, ice cubes, and fruits. Not bear and cubs, Janiel, but you're definitely putting a smile on my face, Janiel. So not bear, it would be beer. You should never put beer in the freezer. It will ruin it. It will explode, okay? Janiel, you put beer in the fridge, not in the freezer, so careful with that, okay? Amrinder says, frozen vegetables, chicken, and fish. Yeah. And Baljit, yeah, cubes. So, Janiel, notice Baljit's spelling of ice cubes. Okay. All right. Amrinder, very good. Amrinder says, most importantly, ice cream. Okay. All right. Veggies, meat, and so on. Okay. Good. So, maybe, yeah, minus 4 degrees or 5 degrees. Okay, sure. Okay, keeps food fresh for a long time. All right, good. Importance. So I would probably put these ones in the importance part. Okay, this happens commonly, and see, even I make this mistake where I mix up the importance with the function. Okay, so freeze food, store ice cream, veggies, meat, minus 5 degrees. The importance is this part. So it's important to store food. If you have a big family, it saves time and money, right? Okay, good. So now we've got kind of our key notes, and now we can go to our next and last step, which is your first sentence. Okay, so get your first sentence ready, and for your first sentence, use the topic question. Okay, so our topic question here is talk about an item that you have sold. Okay, so I would right away start with just last year I had sold my freezer to one of my neighbors. Okay, so that's my first sentence, and I'm just making it up. It's not true. Okay, your answer to part 2 does not have to be true. If you actually did sell something like your freezer last year and you remembered that, perfect, use that. If you have the truth, if you do have something that's true and that you can remember clearly, maybe talk about it, but be very careful because talking about the truth can sometimes be very difficult, okay? G. Haynes says, you can put some beer in your freezer for 1 hour, but not more. Yeah, because otherwise it'll freeze and explode, okay? So careful putting liquids in your freezer. All right, so now we have our first sentence, and the IELTS examiner, after your 1 minute preparation, they'll give you exactly 1 minute to prepare, and then they'll say, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. This is very, very important sentence, okay, just to show fluency and to get going right away. So just last year, I had sold my freezer to one of my neighbors. Okay, all right. Bandita says, I have sold an item last month. It was my old freezer to one of my friends. Okay, Bandita, good. So a little bit of grammar there, Bandita, pay attention, but otherwise you're on the right track. I have sold an item last month. It was my old freezer to one of my friends. Nice use of that present perfect. Kyber says, an object that I've sold is my freezer to one of my close friends, Jerry. Okay, don't repeat the word sold, Kyber. Amrinder says, the object that I sold was a freezer to my friend Rohan last year. Very nice, Amrinder. That's perfect. Okay. Janelle says, an item that I have just sold to my neighbor a couple of weeks ago is a freezer. Very good. Okay, very, very good. All right, so now I simply take my notes here and continue with it. So this was a fairly large freezer, 80-liter capacity. So just go with me here, members. So give me the sentences, okay? The notes that we have, hopefully you remember them, okay? So here are the notes, all right? And then we'll keep going, okay? So just last year, I had sold my freezer to one of my neighbors. This was a fairly large freezer, 80-liter capacity, with a rectangular shape, and an egg shell white color with a bit of rust from several years of use. This is a brand name freezer made by Philips, which I had purchased from an appliance store about 5 years back. Okay, so I'm just really using my notes and putting together sentences. You can do this many different ways. Rashika says, an LG freezer was the item which I sold last year to the Goodwill second-hand shop. Okay, Rashika, I think to Goodwill you just donate, but truth doesn't matter. Sure. Okay. Baljit says, I have sold an old freezer to one of my friends because I decided to upgrade. Okay, so a little bit better. I decided to upgrade, Baljit. All right, Baljit says it was a rectangular shape and the color was a bit dull. I purchased it from a supermarket with a great discount. Okay, yeah, so I bought it. And again, use your present perfect too. I had bought it. You can use lots of present perfect here. I had bought it for around $500, brand new, and I sold it to my neighbor for $80 after a bit of bargaining, or after he bargained the price a bit, because I was asking originally $100. Okay. All right. So again, now you go into function. So I had used this freezer to store vegetables, meat, and most importantly, ice cream for my family and I. The reason I decided to sell this freezer is because I felt that it was time for an upgrade. I have been thinking of getting a more modern energy efficient unit with larger capacity and auto defrost. Okay. All right. So you're moving along nicely and you're going through your notes. And students, it's absolutely okay to stop and look at the card and look at your notes. Okay. So Janelle says it is manufactured by Philips and it looks like an egg white colored rectangular shape with 80-liter capacity. Good. Nice description, Janelle. Okay, now I look at my notes, right? So function, freezes food, veggies, meat, -5 degrees. Okay, what's its importance? To store food with my big family, to save time and money. Okay, all right, I've got all those. Let me look at the questions on the card. What did you use it for? I'm answering that. That's great. When and where did you sell it? I've answered that. Why did you decide to sell it? How did you feel about the sale? Okay, good. So I can answer those last couple questions as well. All right. So having a freezer in my home is important in order to have a stock of food, as well as to save money and time, not having to go to the grocery store as often. In fact, this is the reason that I planned to get a new freezer with a 100-liter capacity. selling my old freezer to my neighbor. I felt great about it because I know that it went to a good person who will get some more years of use out of it, and he got it for a cheap price. Also, I was able to recoup a bit of money to invest in the new freezer. Okay, all right, and then probably the examiner will stop you there. So students, you're doing a great job, members, so far. So you're adding in some nice details. Ashmi says, actually, a couple of months back, I'd sold my freezer through eBay. This was an off-white rectangular freezer having a capacity of 60 liters, which I bought from IKEA 3 years back. Ashmi, that's really good. Nice connection of ideas, nice grammar. Okay, so like I say, a lot of students are doing a really good job here. Okay, all right, so we have our answer. Repeat after me, students. When you're practicing with me, have some water. Boy, do I ever get dry sometimes. All right, so here we go. Make sure that we answered all of the questions. So talk about an item that you have sold. What is this item? What did you use it for? When and where did you sell it? Why did you decide to sell it? How did you feel about the sale? Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. Just last year, I had sold my freezer to one of my neighbors. This was a fairly large freezer, 80-liter capacity with a rectangular shape and an eggshell white color with a bit of rust from several years of use. This is a brand name freezer made by Philips, which I had purchased from an appliance store about 5 years back. I had bought it for around $500 brand new, and I sold it to my neighbor for $80 after he bargained the price a bit because I was originally asking for $100. I had used this freezer to store vegetables, meats, and of course, most importantly, ice cream for my family and me. The reason I decided to sell this freezer is because I felt that it was time for an upgrade. I have been thinking of getting a more modern, energy-efficient unit with larger capacity and auto defrost. Having a freezer in my home is important in order to have a stock of food as well as to save money and time, not having to go to the grocery store as often. In fact, this is the reason that I planned to get a new freezer with a 100-liter capacity. After selling my old freezer to my neighbor, I felt great about it because I know that it went to a good person who will get some more years of use out of it, and he got it for a cheap price. Also, I was able to recoup a bit of money to invest in the new freezer. Recoup or recuperate means to get better or to get back. Okay. Yeah, Nuthan, bargain and negotiate is kind of the same. Bargain is more for money. Negotiation can be for some other kinds of situations as well. So they're almost the same, Nuthan. Bargain is more for money or money exchange. Negotiation, we use it for not just money, but for other types of back and forth interaction. Okay, good question. Students, I want to give a couple of you a chance to answer this part 2 question. So I'm going to switch over to our websites, and I think many of you know what to do. Okay, so I'm going to speak with some of you. Go to our websites. Our websites are aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. Okay. So this is aehelp.com here. Log into your My Student account. Okay, it's up at the top here. And then in your My Student account, please click on the Student Partner Speaking. Okay. Accept that you're going to be responsible for your speaking and you're going to be respectful. And then here, you are going to be in this chat interface. Okay, I can see Bandita, Rupinder, Sai, Manish, Ali, Omar, Anna, Anirban, June, Abdul are all in here. And then you can volunteer to answer this part 2 question. So all you have to do is just send me a message. You'll see me in here as master. Okay. And then so just send me a message, say I want to volunteer, I want to try this part 2. And then we'll go to part 2 and I'll just read the topic sentence. I'll say your time is up and please begin speaking. Now you can practice with the same. And Princess Duke, I see you there as well. So please do this. Okay. So you can try talking about the freezer for 2 minutes. Or if you want, you can try talking about selling a different item that was maybe in our list or that you've been thinking about and that you have some notes about. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, I see that Bandita is volunteering here. Okay. And welcome to our new members. All right. I see that we've got several of them joining in, like Nuthan as well. Okay. All right. So, okay, we've got June, Baljit, and Bandita. I also saw at the beginning of class that we had Jihane in here. Jihane said that they've got an exam coming up. So Jihane, if you're in here, you can now practice this as well. Oh, there's Jihane. Okay. So I kind of made the promise. Jihane, are you ready? Do you want to give this a shot? Because I know you asked me right at the beginning of class that you're on a tight schedule, and if you can. So let's see. Okay. All right, we've got a good number of volunteers. All right, Kyber. Kyber, do you want to volunteer? Let's see if Kyber's in here. I don't think. Have you spoken, Kyber? Okay, Kyber wants to volunteer. Okay, Kyber, are you ready? And then we'll check for Jihane after. Okay, so Kyber, are you ready to do some volunteering? I hope everybody tested their system as well, okay? So make sure to test and make sure your microphone and your speakers are working, all right? So Kyber, just let me know that you're ready, and then we'll go. All right, yes, you are. Perfect. Okay, Kyber, then here we go. Just calling Kyber, waiting for Kyber to pick up. Hopefully Kyber gets my call. And it's a good idea, students, to test this with other students before these live classes, just to make sure that you're able to use this. I know some of you are using VPNs, depending on what country you're in. Okay. All right, Kyber, I'm calling you, but you're not picking up. So please just check on your end what's going on there. Okay. All right. Okay. Jihane says, hi, Adrian. I can give it a shot maybe in the next 5 minutes. Okay, Jihane, we'll come back to you then. Let's see. Here is June. Let's see if June's ready. Okay. All right, June, are you ready? So I know June is over in Calgary. He's in Canada, in the province next to where I'm at. I'm in British Columbia. Okay, so June is ready, so we'll start with June then, okay? All right, here we go. Good morning, June.
Morning, Adrian. Can you hear me clearly?
I can. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you?
Fantastic. And you're over in Calgary, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Are you having lots of snow in Calgary?
Oh, man. But it's not snowing like during Christmas, but it was snowing crazily like 2 weeks ago. So,
oh, really? Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're getting lots of snow right now. In fact, it's snowing outside, which is very unusual for Victoria. We only get snow about once every couple years, and usually
Oh,
only...
yeah, because I thought BC doesn't have that much. snow usually. Yeah.
Not in the south part. Yeah, I mean in the
Oh
north
yeah.
part, obviously lots, but not
Okay. Yeah.
but not in the south part. Yeah, not Vancouver and Victoria, not so much. So anyway, enough
Okay.
weather talk. Let's get into this part two. So I'm just going to read the topic sentence, and then I'll start you off. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Okay. Just the day before yesterday, I sold a pair of overhead earphones online to a customer. It was on this Christmas Eve that I received this headset from my friend Johnson as the holiday gift. They were a pair of Sony WH-1000X wireless Bluetooth headphones, along with 1.5-meter extension lines. This headset is a fantastic tool for people to listen to music because of its unique noise canceling technology. It also involves touch sensors on this device, so we can change tracks, adjust volume, and even make phone calls at our fingertips. I would say this was indeed a great listening device as it produces perfect sound quality. Well, as a matter of fact, its ear pads have made me sweat easily, and I did not feel comfortable after wearing them for half an hour. So I decided to keep using my own Apple earbud and sell this brand new headphones. I posted the ads of this pair of headphones on Kijiji.ca, which is one of the most popular sites for selling and buying secondhand products. I marked the price 270 Canadian dollars, about 90% of its original market price. Luckily, a customer called Lily contacted me and she was very glad to pay for the headset with the price I offered. Without any bargains, she paid me in cash and happily took this pair of nearly new headphones. Of course, I feel
Okay,
fine.
I'm going to stop you there, and
Okay.
now we'll continue with part three. For part three, I will ask you a question related to your response and some questions connected to this topic.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so June, I interrupted you because that's about what the examiner will do. So at this point, when
Yeah.
you keep talking like that and
Mhm.
talking,
Yeah.
the examiner will roughly at around this point interrupt you. They'll be like, okay, he
Mhm.
said enough. I'm going to interrupt him. Overall, I think you did quite well for sure. So
Mhm.
again, you're up in that high, I would say band 8 category. Okay. First of all, what you're doing really well is you're keeping to the structure. So you're recognizing that I'm talking about an object. I have to describe, what it is, what it's used for, why I used it, why I sold it, right? So you're sticking with that same kind of structure that we used for the freezer. So you said just before yesterday, I sold an
Mhm.
overhead headphones online to a customer. It was very
Mhm.
direct. You didn't say
Yeah.
anything like, thank you for giving me this
Oh yeah.
opportunity to talk today, right? But a lot of
I
students do that because they're taught that. Like some teachers, for some strange reason, tell students to thank the examiner or to say, there are a lot of items that I have sold, but the one I want to talk about today. And it's like, well, okay, let's just talk about that one. So you got right into it. That was really good. You were very specific. So you said they were a Sony X1000 Bluetooth headset. And I thought I saw, I think, Janelle asking you, that's the latest model, right? I think the
Oh.
latest model, Janelle, is the 4000s. I have those ones. But anyway, it doesn't matter, right? So what's important is that you're giving lots of detail. And then you said the ear pads made you sweat, so you gave that reason. The one correction, so you did a really good job. I mean, a Band-Aid is really good. The one correction that I would advise you, or one kind of shortcoming, let's say, of your response that I would advise you to pay attention to is that last question. And what happens to a lot of students, June, that are very fluent like you and have a lot of really good ideas, is they talk
Yeah.
for 2 minutes without actually getting to this last question here of the how did you feel about it?
Oh yeah, I was just about to say it, but yeah, time is
Yeah,
up.
so so what you want to do when you're very fluent and you have a lot of good ideas like that is in the first 90 seconds, because when you're nice and fluent and you're giving new ideas, they will definitely let you speak for 90 seconds. Okay,
Yeah.
so in that first 90 seconds, make sure that you answer all of the questions on the card, even that last one. So say,
Oh,
I felt really good about this because I was able to get back some of the money, and I also learned that it's not the right style of headphones for me. So in the future, I'm not going to buy these. So it was a good learning experience and it was a good sale. And then you can keep talking about it. However, Lily was really happy because she explained to me that she didn't have that much money and she really needed these for school and work. And she tried them before, so it was a good exchange, right? So then you can keep expanding after and keep talking more about the sale, but definitely finish that question. Okay.
okay, yeah,
All
okay.
right. So that's the one tip, and that tip goes out to everybody who has that kind of band 7 to band 9 range of English. Is really pay attention to answering all of the questions, because the examiner wants to hear an answer for all the questions to give that band 9 score. Okay.
Yeah, very useful and practical. Yeah.
Okay. All right, June. Thank you for that great example. I hope your day goes fantastic over in Calgary.
Oh, you too, sir.
Okay. Thanks, June. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, everybody, give June a little bit of an applause there. That was a very good first performance, setting the bar high. That was great. All right, Kyber, yeah, I'll try you again, okay? But I'm going to give a chance to, let's see if we still have one of our newer, oh, we don't see this. Okay, Kyber, all right, well, if you're still here, but I don't see you in the list, Kyber. So I'm going to go with someone else, okay? So we've got Bandita, Sai, Manish, Ali. This is a members chat class, everyone, so that's why I'm looking for members first. Abdul, are you in our group of members? I don't know if I see you there. Okay, so in these members chat classes, members have kind of the first pick. So I see Baljit. Okay, so let's see if Baljit wants to volunteer. Okay, Baljit, so are you ready? All right. And everybody who's watching, we do have an all chat class coming up next in about 30 minutes for part 3. And we're going to be doing this with all of our viewers, so not just our members, but any of our viewers watching that class. So we always do a members chat class and when we do an all chat class. So it pays to be a member, but don't worry, if you're not a member, you're going to get a chance as well, or potentially get a chance as well. All right, so Baljit says, I want to volunteer. Baljit, are you ready? Yes, but I'm a bit nervous. That's absolutely okay. And Baljit, it's good to be nervous because this is a great way to build your confidence, okay? So there are students of all levels and abilities. Just do your best, all right? This is a great way to... Hi, Baljit.
Hello. Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you, Baljit. All right, Baljit. So we're gonna get into this, and I get that you're a bit nervous. So here's my advice. You know, if you're feeling a bit nervous, you can just maybe practice what we were working on today, talking about the freezer. Or if you want to be, you know, a little bit on the braver side, then you can go with an original kind of topic. It's totally up to you. Okay. I'm just going to ask you the question, and then I'll say your 1 minute is up, and I'll start you off, okay?
Okay, sir.
All right. And remember, Baljit, practice makes perfect, so that's what you're doing, and that's great. Okay,
Yes.
so here we go. Talk about an item that you have sold. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Just last year, I had sold my freezer to one of my friends because last time I wanted to sell it because it was quite old-fashioned, and I wanted to upgrade it with the new one with the more energy efficient and with the more space. I can say I wanted to get a new one of 60 liters. I sold it because of its color was a little rusty and its lid was quite loose, because sometime I just close it. It was not good at closing. I sold it to one of my friend known as Manjinder, and he is quite good friend of mine, and I purchased this for about 5,000 bucks, $500, and I sold it to Manjinder in 100 bucks, because of he bargained quite very well. So I used the freezer for storing not only the food, but also ice creams for my family members. So this was the object which I sold to my friend, and after solding it, I felt quite good, because after that I purchased a new one of LG, about double door freezer, and it is more energy efficient than that of my old
Okay.
freezer.
Your 2 minutes is up. I'll stop you there. And now we'll continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you some more questions related to this topic and a question in regards to your response. Okay, Baljeet, that was fantastic. That was really, really good. All right. Be brave, because you have great English. All right. So you did a good job, and you did answer basically all of the questions on the card. You didn't repeat the information too much at all. You gave an original answer, so you kept with the freezer topic, but you gave a different answer than what we practiced earlier, which is good. I like how you used strategy instead of memorization, and that's the key to maximizing your score. So not just trying to memorize sentences, right? Like, thank you for giving me the opportunity, and there are lots of items that I've sold, but you stuck to strategy. So you really thought about, okay, what was it that I sold? When did I sell it? Who did I sell it to? Right? So you're thinking about all of these questions. Why did I sell it? And you're giving answers to each of these questions that are coming up in your mind. And because of that, you would get a fantastic score. So you would easily get a band 6.5 to 7 for that response. You had a couple of slight awkward grammatical mistakes, like after solding it. Okay, you would never say after solding it, after I had sold it, right? But that's okay. I was still able to clearly understand what you said. Your fluency was fantastic. And I was a little bit worried that you might not answer that question of how you felt about it. And kind of the same as with June, you want to get to that a little bit earlier, but you did get to it. So you're like, I felt good because I was able to upgrade and get a better freezer, new one. So you did answer it, which was good. You realized that, okay,
Yes.
I still need to answer that question, right?
Yes.
The description at the beginning, you could have said a little bit more about it. You said you wanted to upgrade to a new one with more space, 60 liters, but I don't actually know what your old one had. So you could have said something like, my old one had 40-liter capacity, but I needed a one that has 60-liter capacity because I was always running out of space. I didn't know where to put my chicken or where to put the meat because my freezer was full, right? So you could have given me a little bit more description of your old freezer, but overall it was quite good. Also, you made a really good correction. You said I purchased this for $5,000, which is, it's a bit much for a freezer,
Too
right?
much.
Yeah, and then you corrected. You said no, $500. That was really good. That was natural. At first, I was like, 5,000, but then you're like quickly like, no, it was $500, and I was like, oh, okay. He realized that that's not a realistic number there, so made the correction. So that was a good self-correction. So I thought that was really good overall, Baljeet. Good attention to details. So well done. Okay, well done.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, so that was Baljeet, everyone. Give Baljeet some applause. I think that was fantastic. So Baljeet giving us a great example of what to do with strategy and structure, not necessarily the information itself, but just focusing on good strategy, getting a good score. Thanks again, Baljeet. Have an awesome day.
Thank you, sir. You too, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was Baljeet. Students, I've run out of time for now. So Kyber and the other students who I couldn't get to today, Jihane, please come back in the next class. Okay, I have to get ready for that next class. So I have to say goodbye for now, everyone, but I will be back in 30 minutes with speaking part 3. And Jihane, Kyber, you will be the first ones I will be looking for as long as you are in the chat. So we're going to do lots and lots of practice for speaking part 3. That will be a continuation of this topic, obviously. So it will be about buying and selling items. Okay, that's the way IELTS works. This part 3 is a continuation of the topic of part 2. So thank you so much, members. Thank you, Carolina, for moderating our chat, for helping out. Again, make sure to join our premium package on our websites at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS by clicking those big red buttons. And on the websites, you can book speaking interview practice with me as well by clicking the yellow button beside the student speaking practice button. So if you like this and you want to practice with me for a full 30 minutes, use that function. Thanks a ton, everyone, and I'll be back in less than 30 minutes. So I'll be back in 25 minutes. With some more speaking. I'm Adrian, signing out from snowy Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. Bye for now, everyone.